Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Today, yeah, today we're gonna start Unit 2, and I don't have all the technology here today, so we're not going to be using the projector. But first of all, has everyone completed their assignment? Any questions about uploading or finishing their descriptive essay in Google Drive? I think I saw most of your work there. So I'll be uploading your grades between today and I hope by Wednesday. Uploading. Sorry? The final grade for the essay. Yes. The final grade for the essay. And later this week, if need be, if we need to discuss something from the essay, we can do that. But today we're going to start Unit 2. And Unit 2, we have a lot of different projects that we have to complete. I think there are 6 different projects. And we have 4 weeks to complete those 6 projects. The first project, which is the project we're going to focus on today, is called the purpose statement. You can look in Canvas and see all of the projects that we need to complete and the due date for each of those products. But the purpose statement that we're going to start on today, I think, is due on Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So today we're going to work on the purpose statement. Part of this unit will also, you'll be asked to create an account in LinkedIn. LinkedIn. If you don't already have one. LinkedIn is a social networking site, kind of like Facebook, but it's more professional. It's more for employers looking for employees. So, for example, if you want to look for schools to work for, LinkedIn is a very good social networking site that you can use to really sell yourself, to put your name out there to show what you have accomplished, and it's a good way to find employment. So I think it's to all of our advantages, I think, to work and create an account in LinkedIn, putting some information in LinkedIn so that others later on can look and find you. And so I'll be going in more detail later how to create an account in LinkedIn, but if you already have an account, then you're already set. If you want to, on your own, go in and create an account, that's fine, but I'll spend some time, probably later this week, talking more in detail about LinkedIn. How many of you have heard of LinkedIn? Some of us? Okay. So, yeah, we'll be working with LinkedIn because part of one of our products for this unit, in fact, our very last product, is creating a resume. So, a resume, or a curriculum vitae. Right? So, we'll be creating a resume as one of our products, and I'll be asking you to create your resume in LinkedIn. All right? But that's later. Today, we're going to focus on the purpose statement. Okay, so we're going to work together today trying to come up and brainstorm and develop our own purpose statement. So if you have a computer or some notes, please get your notes out. And the first thing that I'd like to ask, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you can write down the question, and then later write down the answer. The first question I have, and this is really the main question that I'd like for us to focus on when we think about our purpose statement, and that is, what is your ideal job? Your ideal job. All of you are taking courses to finish a BA in English language teaching. So I'm assuming that you are all looking for some sort of job in some capacity, something related to English language teaching, maybe translation, maybe administrative work. But what is your ideal job? That's the first question. What is your ideal job? The second question, what do you really want your job to be? What do you really want your job to be? All these questions that I'm going to pose, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. They're all very much related. But the second question is, what do you want? What do you want from that real job? So the first question, what is your ideal job? The second question, what do you really want that job to be, or what do you want from that job? The third question, what do you really need from that job? What do you really need in this ideal job? So one is, what do you want? What are some things that you actually need from this job? And the last question is, what concerns do you have about your job? All right, what are some things that maybe you need, but that you are concerned about, that you are maybe afraid about? What concerns do you have about that job? So the first question, what is your ideal job? The second question, what do you really want that job to be, or what are your wants? The third question, what do you really need from that job? And the last question, what are some particular concerns or fears that you have about that job? Now, before we start the second prompt, your purpose statement is basically what comes to mind when you think of a purpose statement. What is a purpose statement? Have you ever heard of a purpose statement? Have you ever written a purpose statement? In the U.S., and I'm not sure if this is common here in Mexico, but a lot of times universities will ask students who want to go to the university to write a purpose statement. So the purpose statement is really a document. It's a belief that the student expresses to, in this case, the university, to explain who the person is and what is their purpose for going to that university. Okay, what is their what do they need from, just very much the same types of questions that we're looking at here. What would be an ideal university to go to? What do you need as a student to go to that university? What are some wants that you have, and what are some concerns? So it's an opportunity for the university to get to know you, for you to, whether or not you are then later accepted into the university or not, but it's a way for you to try to express yourself and for the university to know who you are. For our purposes, we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. Okay, we're going to think of a purpose statement as being an ideal job. So think about a particular school that you might want to work for, and you write out a purpose statement. What would you include in that ideal job, working at that ideal school, for that school to know who you are and know what your wants are, what are your needs, and what are your concerns, right? And it's important to include some of your concerns so that the university kind of, or in this case the job, the school, kind of knows who you are. They know who they are, but by reading your purpose statement, they should be able to say, you know what, Alex is a good fit for this school because these are his needs, these are his wants, and we feel that we have what he needs, what he wants, and we have ways that we can take care of his concerns. If he has certain concerns, we know how to deal with those concerns. And that's pretty important, right? Because when you go to an interview, right, it's about getting to know each other. You as the candidate, the teacher who wants to work for the school, and the school has an opportunity to really know you as much as possible through the interview and through your resume to say, okay, this person would make a good teacher for our school, or maybe this person is not quite the right person for our school. So I want us to be thinking about this ideal job, but be realistic. Be realistic, thinking in terms of maybe a particular school here in Aguascalientes that you know, Maybe you're working now, but you have another place that would even be a better place to work. But think about that ideal job, that ideal school, and think about your own personal needs and wants and concerns. And that is what we're going to be working on today and on Wednesday, about creating this purpose statement for this ideal job. Now, this is a hypothetical. This is not real, but we do want it as authentic as possible in the sense that think of a real school. Think of a school that you would be willing to give this purpose statement to. So it's not just doing it, making complete make-up things, right? It's actually practical things that you would feel comfortable with talking about to a school. So, for example, you're not going to probably want to put, I want, from a teaching position, I need to make tons of money. And I need all these vacation days, right? I need a lot of vacation, and I need for the school to pay for all of my master's degree and doctoral degree, and all these different things. If you're not realistic, right, that's probably not going to be helpful for you as well. So we want to be sincere, realistic, and think of, and you can actually, as an example, think of a school that you know of perhaps that you would actually want or could submit this purpose statement to. Okay? So we have these 4 questions. 4 or 5? 4 questions. Now, the next prompt is related to these 4 questions. And I want to go ahead and give you this now before we start answering these 4 questions. Now, this prompt begins like this. The purpose of, and then you fill out this ideal job. So if you want to write in your notebook, the purpose of, and then a blank. Now, the blank is going to be your description of this job. It could be an elementary teacher. It could be a university teacher. It could be an administrator. It could be working for SEP. It could be translation. It could be working for, kindergarten, teaching English. But try to be specific in your job description. So the purpose of this job description is to ... is to, and after is to, write out a list of things that you would expect from this job. And what you would expect, a lot of it comes from those answers to those 4 prior questions. What is my ideal job? What are my wants for the job? What are my needs? What are my concerns? So what I'd like for us to do first today is start writing out answers to those 4 questions. And then when you feel like you have some good information from the answers to those 4 questions, let's complete that prompt. The purpose of this ideal job is to, and you can create a list. And it can be a long list. It doesn't matter if it's really long. This is a prompt, so it's okay if it's a super long sentence. But it should include information that you include in your answers to those 4 questions. Okay? Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions? Not yet? Okay, so let's go ahead and start on that, and then we'll spend the last part of today with doing something else related to this, a column list. And are we in our groups? Can we get in our trios? We can get in our trios, we can work together. This is individual, but share your ideas. Share your ideas with your classmates. Brainstorm. But do be realistic. Please be realistic.
to be here in Aguascalientes?
No. It could be anywhere, any job. I'm assuming it's going to be related to language learning or language teaching, but yeah, it can be anywhere. It can be here in Los Angeles, or it can be in another country. But please be realistic. Whenever you write the answers to the questions, don't worry about writing paragraphs. This is just brainstorming. So you can make a list, or you can just, however you want to write the answers. It doesn't have to be a complete sentence. Just for you to get some ideas about your needs, your wants, your challenges, and how do you describe your ideal job.
Teacher, ¿cómo podría decirte que como trabajar ahí si todo, cómo tener antigüedad, así que no me corras a distancia?
¿Perdón?
Como tener antigüedad ahí en trabajo, así como que siempre trabajar ahí, como que no tener riesgo de que me vayan a despedir, como, ajá.
Como no hay mucha rotación de maestros,
Que no está plana.
job security. I'm looking for, or you can explain it more like, I'm looking for a school where I can grow, that I can develop, and that I can, yeah. So you're talking kind of long-term goals. Yeah, so you're kind of saying, in other words, you don't want to be, you don't want a school that has a lot of turnover. Turnover is cambio de gente, como hay mucha rotación de personas o de maestros. Turnover. When you write your wants, your needs, your concerns, also try to put yourself in the shoes of the school. So imagine you're on the other side and you're reading this and you're thinking, okay, ask yourself, is this person being reasonable? Right? Is this person being realistic, or is this person just asking for the moon, as they say, asking for all kinds of things that maybe are not realistic? Right? So try to put yourself in the other person's shoes as you are developing your own list. Okay, now the third part here I want to talk about, don't worry if you have not answered all the questions. Don't worry about if you have not completed that prompt. The purpose of your job is to, I'll give you some more time to complete your ideas. But the third part of this exercise is to create 2 columns. So below in your notebook, if you want to make, or on the next page, create a list, 2-column list. On the left-hand side, we want to write our expectations. So if you want to write expectations on the left-hand side in the left column, and on the right column, write the word commitments. So expectations on the left-hand side, left column. On the right column, we're going to have commitments. Now, when I say expectations, what do I mean? Commitments. How do you spell commitments? Yes, otra vez. One more time. Okay, so when I say expectations, what do I mean by expectations?
What do you need?
What do you need?
Or what do you want?
What do you want? And
Expectations.
what's the third thing that we could also include? From our questions above?
The fear.
Their fears or your concerns. Okay? So think of the expectations as your wants, your needs, your concerns. On the commitments, if you want, in parentheses, write, I will statements. I will. Commitments. That is, what are you willing to do? I will do this. I will do that. So, the idea with our columns, okay, is we're going to create a list of expectations, and each expectation is going to have a commitment. I will. So, I want this, and I will do this. I need this, and I will do this. I'm concerned about this, but I'm willing to do this. So each expectation will have some commitments. Now you could have one commitment per expectation, or you could have more than one commitment per expectation. But in your columns, after you've answered the questions and you've brainstormed and have some ideas about your expectations, then complete the 2-column list, listing out each expectation with their corresponding commitment. Does that make sense? So we have our questions, then we have basically our purpose statement. That is one sentence. The purpose of obtaining this job is to blah, 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 blah. Then the third step, create our 2-column expectation and commitments chart. Do this? Okay, so we have our 2-column list, and we have our expectations, right? Our commitments. So your expectations are coming from where? What do I mean by expectations?
What you want.
Okay. Or need and or concerns. So each expectation will have a commitment. You might have one commitment per expectation. Maybe you have a couple of commitments per one, but each expectation will have a corresponding commitment. What is commitment? Commitment, what is a commitment? And I give an example.
Like, if you write an expectation, what will you do to get that?
No, not expectation, but the commitment, right?
Por eso. I was talking about the commitment.
Yeah, but you said expectation.
Yes, what you wrote in the expectation,
Right.
and the commitment you write what you will do
To get the expectations.
So, for example, so like here's an example. If you say, I want this from this job, and I will do this, right? So that you show that you have some sort of commitment to whatever it is that you want.
El compromiso que das acá. Si te dicen, yo quiero trabajar en una empresa, pues voy a buscar empresas donde cumplen requisitos. ¿Sí?
Sí, es algo, pero the commitment, the expectation is from the job, so you have to link, it's como no estás pidiendo algo, pero que tú no vas a hacer nada. Es decir, tú vas a hacer un compromiso con el entendido que, claro, que ellos también tienen algo de compromiso, ¿verdad? Entonces, está relacionado al trabajo con la idea es que sí, ellos van a tener un compromiso, pero también ustedes van a hacer un commitment. Let's give an example. Let's say you want to find a job working at a school that pays for your education, that pays for a master's degree. You want a job that pays for your master's degree. What are you willing to do for that? You're willing to do some action research, some actual studies on your own, right? You're willing to participate in conferences, right? You're willing to add back to the profession, right? And their commitment would be to help pay for some master's degree or some sort of educational objective that you have. But you're willing to also give back, right? So it's not just that they're willing, you're not asking them, pay for my master's degree, but I'm not going to make any other commitment. I'm just going to accept the master's degree and that's it. No, you also say, okay, I also commit to participating in conferences, doing my own research on my own. I see. That's the idea. Does that help, Alex? Don't worry about writing any paragraphs right now. Just answers to the question. It can be a list, brainstorming list. You might have one sentence for the purpose, and then you have your chart. But don't worry about forming paragraphs right now. Just brainstorm and think about that ideal job and your expectations and your commitments. How many expectations do you have if you were to list each one? 2? Anybody have more than 2? 3? Anybody have more than 3? Well, you don't have a lot of expectations, do you?
Well, it's hard to think about commitments.
What type of commitments do you have so far? Are they wants, needs, or concerns? What's the difference between a want and a need? I'm sorry?
I don't get it.
Okay, what's the difference? All right, we have 3 questions here, all right, that we need to answer for us to think of expectations that we'll have for a job. So if you say, what do you want from a job? I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. Okay. We can also say, I need this, I need that, right? And you can also say, I have certain concerns. I'm concerned about this, I'm concerned about that, I'm concerned about this. So when you answer each of those 3 questions, you're listing expectations, right? So if I say I want something or I need something, what's the difference between those 2? Any ideas about the difference? Quiero este, necesito este. ¿Cuál es la diferencia? What's the difference?
Una necesidad podría ser el sueldo y...
Ok, pero en general, ¿cuál es la diferencia entre si yo digo quiero este o necesito este? ¿Cuál es la diferencia en general? Sin ejemplos.
Uno es necesario y el otro no tanto.
All right? So yeah, I mean, if you say, I need this to an employer, say, I need this, you're saying, I don't want to work for you, I'm not going to work for you unless this expectation is met. If you say, I want this, it's like, it's not a condition, you're just saying it would be nice, right, if this were true, if this... So if you say, I need this, your expectations are conditional. It's like, if this school can't give me or meet my expectation, then I can't work for the school, or at least it means it's more serious. If you say, I want it, not so much, it's like, it'd be nice, but, right? So, try to classify all of your expectations into those 3 categories. Are they wants? Are they needs? Or are they concerns? And we probably need to have at least 7 to 10 expectations. Now they could all be wants, they could all be needs, but probably they're going to be a mix. Maybe a few wants, 2 or 3 wants, 2 or 3 needs, 2 or 3 concerns. I would try to include at least one of each of those 3. At least one want, at least one need, and at least one concern. And try to have it somewhere between 7 to 10 expectations. Okay, for Wednesday, I think we'll stop there. I think we have enough to think about. But try to give this some thought. There's not a lot of writing here. It's more about thinking about what we want. What are those expectations? For Wednesday, I'd like for you to have 7 to 10 expectations. And that that it's clear for you which of those 3 do they fall under. Are they wants, are they needs, or are they concerns? And in class, we'll finish our purpose statement that says the purpose of this job is to... Okay? And we'll list out those expectations. Those 7 to 10 expectations we'll list out on our columns, and we'll have at least one commitment for each of those. So I'll give you some time to work on this on Wednesday, but you need to come to class on Wednesday with those 7 to 10 so we can fill out the rest of the commitments, because the hard part of this exercise is really thinking and reflecting on a realistic job, a job that you might have an opportunity to apply for in the future, and coming up with these expectations that you have. Okay? Any questions? So I'll see everybody on Wednesday, and we'll continue with developing our purpose statement. That's probably due when? When is it going to be due? I think it's due Wednesday. No, let me check. I just got connected online here, so let me look. When's it due, Alex? When? Well, this Wednesday? Yes, Wednesday. Wednesday nights. This is due. And where will we upload our purpose statement? In Google Drive, right above our descriptive essay that we did last week, right above it. So we'll have our purpose statement uploaded to Google Drive on Wednesday, and I'll give you class time on Wednesday to work on this. So we'll see everybody on Wednesday. See you then.